Zumutung, dass Sie hier sitzen müssen. Deshalb haben wir für Sie einen Platz in der Business Class.
I'm sure you can imagine what is going on here. Imagine how he feels. He's human too, isn't he? This has to stop. Good afternoon, everyone. I am here to inform you on the awareness of racism today. Racism is prejudice, discrimination, or resentment directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Racism is ugly. It divides people into us and them, based on where we come from or the colour of our skin. And it happens when people feel it's okay to treat others badly as they go about their everyday lives. As you could see in the video showed at the start, a lady requests she wants to move seats as she feels uncomfortable sitting next to a man with a different skin colour. The flight attendant is disgusted with the lady's actions and gladly upgrades him into business class. As this represents upper class and lower class, the video perceives the woman as lower class for her discrimination against a man of a different race. Being mocked, ignored, or insulted because of race has a damaging effect on children. Studies show that facing racial tolerance can lead children to suffer from depression and behavioural problems. Racism can even lead to teens and young adults to drop out of school. Sadly enough, the racial discrimination children experience doesn't exclusively involve their peers, as adults are committers too. Racism occurs in explicit forms such as name-calling, teasing, exclusion, verbal abuse, and bullying. It is also commonly and indirectly presented through prejudiced attitudes, lack of recognition of cultural diversity, and culturally biased practices. It has been acknowledged racism can have a profound effect on students, teachers, and generally affects the overall school's atmosphere. Altogether Now is a non-for-profit organisation whose vision is for Australia that embraces cultural diversity and is free from racism. They seek to achieve this by creating innovative, evidence-based and effective social marketing that is positive, proactive and courageous. Successful learning experiences are dependent on the sustained engagement of students, which racism has proven to limit and disrupt. New research by Dr. Bodkin Andrews of Macquarie University has highlighted such experiences could also negatively impact students' academic performance. In a sample of more than 500 high school students, more than half the Indigenous and Asian students reported experiencing racism. Results suggest that greater experiences of racism are significantly associated with increased levels of hopelessness across all groups and lower level maths and English ratings. 1 in 3 students from Anglo backgrounds reported experiencing racism and lower university aspirations. However, endured less of the negative effects of racism due to a strong sense of identity and perceived cultural respect. This further emphasizes injustices faced by Indigenous Australians, high school students who on average miss 1 day of school per week and remain 2.5 years behind their peers. Altogether's Now a recent infographic, Racism in Australia's Schools, based on a report, Experiences of Racism, Racial, Ethnic Attitudes, Motivated Fairness and Mental Health Outcomes among primary and secondary school students, by Naomi Priest, illustrates that challenging racism in schools requires a sustained combination of early intervention and anti-racism actions. Further, Dr. Bodkins addresses the Australian Council for Education Research Annual Conference in Adelaide in early August on how students can be resilient and challenge racism. It's not just about feeling good about yourself or denying that racism exists or being motivated. He noted in his recommendations that racism is affecting students in different ways, and the ways in which students become resilient against racism is also quite diverse. As greater evidence emerges of racism in schools, it suggests the issue is often not acknowledged or addressed in an effective manner by teachers or others in authority. Altogether Now envisions a school system where students do not have to be confronted with the adverse effects of racism and can engage in a positive learning experience with equal opportunities, assisting students to develop a better understanding and respect for cultural differences in the classroom, and ensuring teachers know how to challenge racism if it occurs. Will prepare students to engage in the wider society and embrace multiculturalism.
The sexism thing is huge. The higher the ladder you climb, it gets huge. It gets huge because just men are used to running things. They are. So I don't have it in the same way other people have it, but I will tell you this. I was in Zurich the other day at a store whose name I will not mention, and I was, let's see, I didn't have my eyelashes on, but I was in full Oprah Winfrey gear. I had my little Donna Karan skirt and my little sandals and on. But obviously, the Oprah Winfrey show is not shown in Zurich. So this doesn't happen to me unless somebody obviously doesn't know that it's me. But I was in Zurich for Tina Turner's wedding. And I decided I'm gonna leave the hotel. It's just me, by myself. Stedman, wasn't there. And Gail wasn't there, no friends. I'm out by myself. And I go into a store, which shall remain unnamed. And I say to the woman, excuse me, may I see that bag right above your head? And she says to me, no, it's too expensive. And I said, no, see the black one, the one that's folded over and she said, no, you don't want to see that one. You want to see this one because that one will cost too much. You will not be able to afford that. And I said, well, no, I really did want to see that one. And she refused to get it. She refused to get it. And she started to show me these other little bags. And I said, one more time I said, but I really do just really want to see that one. And she said, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I said, okay, thank you so much. You're probably right. I can't afford it. And I walked out of the store. Now, why did she do that? Why did she do that? Now, Gail, when I told Gail the story, Gail said, I would have gone back in there and made a Pretty Woman moment and said, big mistake. But then I thought, no, she'd get the commission, so I won't do that.
Yeah, I guess that's true, right? Well, the movie shows you there's two different ways to handle.
Yeah, there's two different ways to handle it. I could have had the big blow-up thing and thrown down the black card and all that stuff, but why do that?
Yeah.
But that clearly is,
That it still exists.
It's still, of course it does.
Were you
As you can see, the video explains that Oprah, one of the world's richest women, revealed on Entertainment that she felt discriminated against when a sales assistant in a luxury boutique refused to show her a $38,000 handbag designed by Tom Ford and named after Jennifer Aniston. She insists that the woman who was helping her and assuming had no idea who she was, thought that because of the colour of her skin, Oprah was not able to afford the handbag and remained unfortunate, like the stereotype that African American withheld. In relation to the conflict theory, through racism, it is often applied to inequalities of gender, social class, education, race, and ethnicity. Multiple layers of disadvantage intersect to create the way we experience race. For example, connecting to racism to understand prejudice, we must understand that it is focused on a white woman because of her gender is very different when the layered prejudice focused on a poor Asian woman who is affected by stereotypes related to being poor, being a woman, and her ethnic status. In this scenario with the video at the start of the presentation with the woman wanting to shift seats due to not being comfortable, being placed next to a man applies conflict theorists as it causes conflict between the man and the woman, as the man had done nothing wrong to irritate the woman in this way other than being the race that he is. Thank you for listening.